Okay, I'm going to bake some bread in my Breadmaker. Now, I fumble around a lot, so you'll have to excuse that. I'm 82 now, and my hands don't work so well, so just ignore that part. I have my Breadmaker. I brought my Breadmaker over and set it. I have to get the pan out of it, and then I'll put the ingredients in. I have most of them here already. I have my flour tin here. I found that you should bring the pan away from the Breadmaker because if you take the pan out and set it right next to the Breadmaker, there's always a chance that you could dump something into the Breadmaker without the pan being in there, and that would make a holy mess. So here's the pan. I have warmed up my water. I hope it's still warm. I'm going to put it in another 15 minutes. It says hot water. Should be around 110 degrees or so. I do have a thermometer. I could test it. We'll just see what that. I had warmed it up before, and then I think it got a little chilly. Just it says hot, actually, hot to the touch. We'll see what this is. You don't want it too hot because then it'll mess up with your. See, it's above 120, almost 130. But I'm going to be adding some milk to it, which is, I don't know. That's cold, so it'll be all right. It won't be too hot by the time I get everything in it, hopefully. If it is, your yeast won't work, which is a bad thing. So the first thing to go in are your wet ingredients. Every Breadmaker is different, but I think most of them, the wet ingredients go in first. 1 cup of hot water. I'll just sort of put it up like this so it cools it off as it's going in. 1/3 cup of milk. And like I said, this is cold, so that'll cool it down. Let's test it and see what it is now. Kitty, you can't be here. No, this isn't for you, and that milk wasn't for you. See, it's barely getting up to 100 degrees now. So, it'll be all right. 1/4 cup of oil. Uh, 3 tablespoons of sugar. The sugar goes in with your wet ingredients because it just dissolves, I guess. A lot of bread doesn't have any sugar in at all, but the sugar helps feed the yeast. So a lot of my recipes that I use have a little bit of sugar in. This has 3 tablespoons, which is a lot, I think. Now, 3 3/4 cup of flour. I have the cup and I have a quarter, so it'll take 3 of each of these. Brought my knife over here, which I level it off with. That's how I learned to do it in home economics, which I don't think they have anymore. They don't teach people to cook in high school anymore. Which is why my daughter, because I didn't teach her really to cook, she was never interested. She didn't really mess around with cooking until she was really off on her own. This is just all-purpose flour. And then 3 quarters, so 3 of these little quarters. This is making the biggest 2-pound loaf. You just spread that around, cover up the water, and I make a little hole in the middle. That's where the yeast goes. But there's other things to go in here. 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. Should go around the outside. You don't want the salt to get next to the yeast. What'd I say? 1 1/2. And then 1 1/2 of yeast, and that goes in the middle, little hole. I have regular active dry yeast, not the quick yeast, just the active dry yeast. So 1 1/2 teaspoons, and I think that's like an envelope of yeast. Okay. That is it. You don't go through these again, make sure I have everything. Hot water, milk, oil, sugar, flour, salt, and yeast. So then I just put it over here in my bread maker. Let me bring it over here. Okay, then you plug it in. Plug it in. And you have to pick the 2-pound loaf. That's the program. No, program is number 1, which is the white bread. And then the size is 2 pound. Then you pick your color. We want light. That's all there is. And you push start. It starts. It will beep the first time it beeps, that means you can add things, because there's a lot of bread. I mean, if you're making raisin bread or whatever, you'd be adding things at that first beep. Then the second time it'll beep is after the second rise. You can take out the dough and get the paddle out from in the dough, so you don't have that big paddle in your bread when it's done. It makes a big hole. So I always do that if I'm around for the second beep, and it'll tell you on the screen what the beeps mean. So this just will go for 3 hours and 30 minutes it takes to make this loaf of bread. And the only thing you have to do is take the paddle out if you want. And you'll have a loaf of bread at the end. And I'll show you at the end what the bread looks like. Okay, the beeper just went off to my bread maker. The bread is done, and I'm going to take it out. They give you this little hook because it's very hot in there. This is to lift the handle up. So I have my oven glove here, and in order to get the handle, you have to lift that up, and that's very hot. So you're supposed to be able to lift the whole thing out, but it's much easier just to use an oven glove. I'm going to press stop here. We don't need it on anymore. So we twist it and raise it up. You put a glove on the bottom too, because it's very hot. And this should come right out. I did get the paddle out of the bottom. And I like to brush the top with some butter. So I'm going to do that. So that is the 2-pound loaf. I'll get my butter. I have a butter bell, so I always have soft butter. And I'm just going to just brush the top of it with some butter. The first one I took out, the first one I made, I brushed the whole thing with butter, and then it was so oily at first I couldn't even pick the loaf up. So I really just brushed the top. So we're going to leave that get cool, and then I will be back on and I will show you what a slice of the fresh bread is like. And it smells wonderful in my house right now. So I'll be back to show you the first slice. Okay, I've waited about as long as I can wait, and the bread is a little bit cool, still warm, but not too warm. So I'm going to take it over here on my cutting board, and we're going to take a slice. I usually cut the top off, and I save that to keep putting it on top. It keeps it sort of fresh. So I will cut that first and then cut the slice. I need a new bread knife, I'll tell you right now. I haven't gotten to the store to buy a good bread knife yet, so yeah. Very nice and soft. I'm going to cut myself a piece and have some, my poor bread knife is not sharp at all. Have a slice with some butter and jelly. That's a terrible slice. I am definitely going to go to the store this week and get a good bread knife, but you can see how soft and nice this is. I mean, I cut it too thin there, but here you can see it better here. It's soft and wonderful. Yeah, I'm just gonna break this and put some butter and jelly on this half. The best kind of jelly, of course, I used to make strawberry freezer jam. That is the absolute best. But I don't have any of that anymore. So I sort of like this kind of jam. You can get it in Walmart or you can get it in lots of different places. Target has it, Walmart has it. Bonnie Mammon, I think it's called. I don't know if I'm holding this in the right spot. The wild blueberry in this is wonderful. But let me taste this with some butter, real butter, of course. And jelly, or jam, really. That was just so soft and good. I wish you could taste it. Nothing like fresh bread. Now, my bread maker, let me adjust this camera a minute so I don't have to lean over so much. The bread maker, when I got it, I did a box opening. You can find that on my videos. Shirley's World Vlog. And there's a box opening. This is a Cuisinart compact bread maker. It's the stainless steel one. And I got the compact because, as you saw in the beginning, it fits nicely into my cupboard. A lot of them are way too big. And then you have to leave them out on your counter, which I didn't want to do. So I really like this one. It does all kinds of stuff. It doesn't just make bread. You can do all kinds of things with this. You can make boxed breads, boxed cake mixes. You can even make jam in this. So it's a multi-purpose, but it's basically a bread maker. So that is it for my day of bread making. Very easy. And now I have a fresh loaf of bread for the week, or for the rest of the week, the weekend. And I'll be back with the next video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.